Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm hoping I'm finding you well and ready for a new video. And today we are going to do a little chit chat podcast. I think it's time to do one. And sorry, my hair is all over the place. I'm going to get it cut finally on Saturday. I can't wait. Get it out. But today we are going to talk about how to find a time for sewing when we don't have any. And it can be for any other activity that you might want to do, and it's about being organized and being a bit more productive. So as a person, naturally I am a very untidy, very messy person. I'm not very organized. I tend to leave things to the last minute and being like, oh, it'll be fine, and then cry because I have so much to do right on the deadline. So I used to be like that, and it used to drive me nuts. So for the last few years I have been trying to better myself in this area because I didn't really like it, and it was getting better. But I think this year in particular, I think I went through, I don't know, a breakthrough or something, and things are a lot better. So I've never been as busy as I am now, and yet I've never been as productive. Never been as productive. I swear to God, before, when I had not much to do, I could not keep up with a weekly video. I was procrastinating way too much, and now I'm keeping up with it, which I'm hoping, finger crossed, is going to last. But I'm really enjoying it. So I have been applying the Kaizen method of philosophy, Kaizen's way. It depends on what book or where you read or get your information. I'm currently reading a book about Kaizen, and I'll put a link down below for you. But Kaizen is about being productive. It's originating from Japan, of all places. It's the land of productivity, no less. I'll put a video down below explaining what it is. And it's all about getting reorganized. So I'm going to give you a very simple example because I'm sure you've all done it. I've done it surely every year. New Year's Eve. We're all there, new year, new me type of crap, and we all think that we are going to reinvent ourselves with the new year. And we have this bunch of things that we want to do, and we are genuinely very excited about them usually at New Year's. I really thought I was going to turn a new leaf or something. And you check in 2 weeks later, and usually most people have given up, usually. And when you look at it, it makes sense because we are setting ourselves to fail. We concentrate way too much on the end goal, and we try to do too much in too little time. And obviously at some point, it's hard to keep up. And very often we think about the end goal, but we don't necessarily think about how we are going to get to that end goal. So Kaizen is a bit different, where it's all about the small things that you can do to reach your goals. So Kaizen can be translated to continual changes or continuous improvement, good changes. Yes, all of these kind. It depends on what you read, but it's all about changes. And the first thing to know with it is you want to change, you have a goal. It's about accepting that you want to become a better person tomorrow than you were yesterday or today, wherever. So it's about trying to actively change something every day, and it's all about the small changes. And that's where the kicker is, because these are small changes. And it's about your willingness to change. If you're willing to change, and if you're willing to improve continuously, it makes it a lot easier because you're changing little step after little step. It's a lot easier to take. Your brain likes it a bit better, and it doesn't send you in procrastination mode because it's so small. So how do I apply it in my sewing? So I'm actually applying it for almost everything now in my life, not just the sewing, but also for studying, for house chores, how I organize myself in a general way. But we're going to concentrate on sewing today. So for example, I have this project I'm currently working on. That's the Simplicity 1080. That will be part of my next makes video. And for me to be able to do that, before I would have looked at this project on its entirety, and I would have decided, well, I need about half a day to a full day to be able to complete this project. Thing is, finding a half a day or a full day, it's hard. It's not necessarily possible. And it means that if you get that time freed up for that, it means that other things don't get done. Anyway, for myself, it is like this. And you know, adulting, it's hard, man. It's hard. And I would not necessarily get it done anytime soon. Also, once I finally had the time for it, what I would usually have is this project that would have grown into this massive thing and being way too scary to do. And my brain would be like, whoop, no, you know what, let's go to Facebook, it's much easier, much nicer. So I would go there and procrastinate, and I would end up feeling guilty, unproductive, angry with myself because finally I had that time and I didn't use it well, and I feel like a failure. And I've done this for forever with so many other things that I wanted to do. That's one of the reasons why I don't have that much stuff made up in terms of my own garments, because I have applied that principle every time. Because I didn't think that it would be worth my while to get my machine out and just for a small amount of time, so I didn't bother. I also thought, well, I would be too tired after work, it's too much hassle, you know, the excuses that you can find for yourself for procrastinating. I mean, procrastination is a strong thing. So now what I do is I take this project, which is this one here, and I deconstruct it. I split it into smaller chunks. So some chunks are going to be bigger than others, that's fine, but the very small one, they're very small and it don't seem like it's a big deal to do them. So even if I'm tired after work or anything like that, I can do these tasks very easily. And what it does is it gets me towards my goal, and if I do that on a regular basis, I get that project closer to being finished. So how do you do that? So for example, this project, what do you start with? So the first thing is read the back of the envelope, because it gives you all the information. And that's something you can easily do whilst you're waiting for your food to cook, or while you're watching a commercial or something. It doesn't have to take a lot of your time. So because it's so small, it's not something that feels like it's a big deal, so just get it done. Next thing I had to do was to find some fabric. So I shopped my stash, found some, put it in my next wash. Done. Then I needed to take my measurements. One day just took my measurements, put them in a book so I don't have to get them done again. And I needed notions. One day during my lunch break, I got my notions. So bias binding, some fabric for the pockets, things like that. Took me 10 minutes. Then I had one evening where I had maybe an hour. I cut my paper pattern, and so on and so forth, until I started sewing. And I did the preliminary sewing, so the pockets, the stay stitch, things like that. Didn't take a long time. Then I started assembling the project, and now I'm halfway through. I'm nearly done, and by Saturday I'd be done. Overall, I've worked on this project for about a tiny bit over a week now, and I've only done it when I had a bit of free time, so I didn't have to free up a huge amount of time. I think the longest I've worked on it was for about an hour and a half for some of the assembly, but that's the longest I've had, and the smallest amount of time that I've had was about 5-10 minutes reading some informations or getting the notions. And little by little, I did little tasks, little steps, and that got me towards my goal. So that's the point with this method. It's about deconstructing everything and taking small steps. It's not about, well, for it to be worth my while, I need to do everything 100%, because the truth is, it's not necessarily going to work. It's the same thing with my studying. If I only have 10 minutes, I am going to read a chapter on one of the additional reading that I need to do. I might just answer some of the questions on my assignments very quickly without making very constructed sentences, but that way I have the idea for it. Sometimes it's just about getting the stuff ready for the next day. That is something that gets me to work towards my goal. And little by little, I get productive. And also, I don't have the impression that I have done a lot. For example, today I have done a hell of a lot of very small tasks, but it doesn't feel that I did a lot, and yet I am on top of everything. I do not need to clean my house, it's clean. Some part of my dinner is made up. I have a video that is nearly done. I have loads of little bits and bobs that have been done and get me to work towards my goals, and that's the point with it. To come back to sewing, the thing that I do now is I work through different projects at the same time. So I get everything in these boxes, and each project gets its own box. So if I don't have time for sewing when I'm at the sewing stage with a project, but I have time, for example, to shop my stash, that's what I'm going to do. If I have time to cut a pattern, but I don't have time for another task, that's what I'm going to do. So everything gets in there. So on this project, all I have in here is the chosen pattern, this one, and I have my fabric. My next task on this one will be to wash my fabric, and then we'll see what's the next step. This one here is for the 1080, and there's just a few bits and bobs because it's nearly done, so I am going to keep on working towards finishing it. And on this one here is the all address. And what I have is my fabric is washed up, I am in the middle of my mock-up, pattern is made up, and everything is in there, so I can keep everything nice and tidy. My sewing room doesn't get trashed, and my project don't get mixed up as well. So I can work towards my goals, which is making two to 4 garments every month. But obviously I'm not seeing a garment made up until towards the end of the month, because I'm working through all of this and I get them advancing little by little, and that way I get productive and I don't get frustrated anymore. I don't have as many problems with procrastination as much as I used to, because I am breaking everything down into smaller chunks, so it doesn't feel that, okay, it's a big scary thing that I have to do. That way as well, when I finally get some time for myself, I do not feel guilty because I was supposed to do something else. I really truly enjoy the time that I have for myself, and I am enjoying it even more. So that's it for today. That's my method to get organized and to be productive. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, well, let me know if you would want to try it, and what are you doing yourself to be productive. So I will leave you there, and I will see you next week. Bye.